Good afternoon, KGED listeners. I'll tell you what, it is a blessing. I am Max Zapata filling in for the great Jerris Jackson. I'll tell you what, it's always a blessing when you get an opportunity like we do here to come out over the airwaves and do some conservative talk radio and just kind of get our feelings out there about a lot of topics. You know, there's so much going on. And, you know, just like the song said, welcome back. I'll tell you what, I do feel blessed to be back because I was out for a couple of months because I did have a little situation in the hospital. Went in for a little procedure, and I'll tell you what, the medication somehow did not jive with me. And before you know it, guess what? I was unconscious. A little bit scary situation, but, you know, I had a lot of peace during that time. Felt more sorry for my wife. But, you know, the point is that you just never know. There's a saying in the Bible says, we are here today and gone tomorrow. You never know. But I'm glad to be with you all. And so I'd like to welcome you all this Friday afternoon, evening, right? So if you're in California, I'll tell you what, we know that this is a time when a lot of people are getting ready to get off work. Not quite probably just yet, unless you got off work early. And if you did, well, good for you. And then you get into that time when you go into maybe happy hours. A lot of things that happen. People gather after a long week. And you're able to talk about many things that happen during the week. And, you know, again, talk, if you're in your good little group that you like talking about, you might be talking politics. Well, we're going to be talking a little bit about a lot of things. So I'm glad that you guys are with us today. So again, I like to tell people that I am a fair and a just person. And by that, I try to do my best. I'm not a perfect man. I always claim that right off the bat. But I like to be fair and just. And, you know, God is a fair and a just God. So I like to do the same thing, whatever we talk about. So if we're talking about politics or things like this, I'll tell you what. I like to be open-minded and like to talk. Nothing wrong with having a little good debate or a good talk with somebody that's on the other side, as long as we can do it in a good way. Because I'll tell you what, you never know. There may be something that I need to hear, or there may be something that the other person needs to hear. So I like to be fair and just and be open about a lot of things. But either way, you know, I know that when we vote the way we like. You got free will. That's what God gave us, so there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a reading that I wanted to start the program off with. And it says, but select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. And guess what? That is a scripture from the book of Exodus. So the reason I say that, I'm not going to get all preachy here. I am a pastor on the outside, in case some of you are tuning in on Facebook and you have not seen me before. But here we're going to talk about everything. But my point is that we should be, as we start getting ready for these elections coming up, you know, I always encourage people to vote their conscience as well. You know, vote the Bible. And you know, if you got morals, then you should be wanting to do the right thing. You know, shouldn't everybody, no matter whether you're Democrat, you're Republican, independent, shouldn't you always want to do the right thing? Well, I hope that we are, unless you're in a place of incarceration or somewhere where you've done something wrong and you don't think like a lot of us normal people do. Well, let me tell you what, I always want to do what is right. So again, I'm not trying to say that everything I believe in is the right thing, but you know, there's some things that we stick to in our views, in our opinions, in our faith, and I just encourage people to try to do the right thing. I mean, gosh, if you don't agree with somebody, and there may be a lot of topics or subjects on that you don't agree with them, then what are you doing voting for them? I'm gonna tell you what, it just blows me away. Because we're going to be hitting off the program with a few stories. And again, trying to be fair and just. If you are watching us on Facebook, I encourage you to call in, you know, here at the radio station, because I like to hear from a lot of people. You know, I want to give you the opportunity on this Friday afternoon to be able to get your views in and talk a little bit. Maybe we can have even a chit chat back and forth to see, you know, how we agree, how we might disagree. So, you know, if you're out there tuning in, call here at 559-442-1680. And I'll tell you what, we will do everything. Woody, we got Woody, our producer engineer, back there. He will do everything he can to get you on, and we will let you vent it out. That's what we do on Fridays. You know, if you're out there again having your cocktails or your choice drink, whatever that may be, it could be a Pepsi, it don't matter, whatever it is. Let me tell you what, you begin to talk about what happened at your work, or hopefully maybe you talk about people. Well, try to keep those kind of thoughts, keep them in perspective. It's not always good to be talking about people, but I know you got to vent sometimes, so make sure that you're in a good group that you can do that. And I'll tell you what, it's always a good thing. Then you don't have to worry about people saying what you said the next day and all that stuff. I know a lot of you guys relate to me on that. Heck, I've been there. Sometimes you say something and you're like, uh-oh, you're going to have to say that word that a lot of us don't like to say, and that word is called sorry, remember? So be careful what you say in front of certain people, because you never know when you might have to apologize and say you're sorry. Well, we're going to be talking, again, a little different topics, but I wanted to start off real quick with one topic. And of course, it's about good old Nancy Pelosi. I know that we all love her, right? Let me tell you what, remember, she prays for all of us. She prays for the president as well. So let me tell you what, I remember we said a long time ago, if you were with us here, I don't know what she prays for him for. She might be praying that he get out of office, but the point is still, she said she prays for us. So let me tell you what, we should pray for her too. And again, maybe we can just share a little bit of love there, because I think she needs some good loving. But here's the deal. She has just recently submitted, I guess, or made the announcement that she is going to be submitting the articles of impeachment to the Senate next week. Let me read this real quick. It says, I have asked Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler to be prepared to bring to the floor next week a resolution to appoint managers and transmit articles of impeachment to the Senate. Pelosi wrote in the letter, I will be consulting with you at our Tuesday House Democratic Caucus meeting. Well, we all know that Pelosi's been holding on to these articles of impeachment for quite a while. Guess what, everybody? Don't know if you heard it or not, but just in case you haven't, President Trump is still not impeached, even though people said he was impeached. The headline said it all. Until those articles get sent to the Senate, the impeachment is not actually official. So up until this point, he has not officially been impeached by the House. And we all know what's going to happen in the Senate. I always kind of like to add on those notes that, it amazes me that Pelosi holding out on these articles of impeachment, waiting for whatever, the right time. I believe it's all strategic. They want to do it on their own timing, or, a lot of times people just say maybe they've realized they made a big mistake. I don't know about all that, but the point is still, she's holding on. Well, she talks a lot during this time about being fair, having a fair hearing in the Senate. Isn't that amazing that you hear that from Schumer? You hear that from Schiff, all these other people in Washington. And, it just blows my mind how hypocritical they can be, because they had not a bit of fairness when they did it in the House. But now, all of a sudden, they want it to be fair. They want these hearings to be a fair thing. Of course, fair only means the way the Democrats want it to be done. That's what fair is to them. So I really believe, I start off the program by saying I want to be fair and just. But let me tell you what, should the Senate, just go ahead and do it their own ways? The House was able to make their own rules. And supposedly, they say they have a right to do it any way they want to. Well, does the Senate have the same way now? Can they say, hey, look, this is the way we're going to do it? Does Mitch McConnell say, this is the way we're going to do it? Well, let me tell you what. If Pelosi, Schumer, and Schiff all wanted these hearings to be done fairly, they should have thought of that from the beginning. I mean, they knew it was going to be going to the Senate. I really believe in my heart that they did this all along, knowing that everybody knows it's not gonna pass in the Senate. President Trump is not going to be removed from the office. So knowing that, they just wanted to get it out there so they could tell their people, all the Democratic Party, that they did do the impeachment. They did do the hearings. They're not going to be able to remove him. And they talk a lot about, well, it's going to be written in history that he was impeached. Well, let me tell you what, everybody. In the end, I don't really think that's going to have anything to do when the elections come up. People are totally, except for the Democrats, of course, the only ones going to be talking about that. It's not going to have much to do when it comes to changing people's mind on how they vote. it won't have nothing to do with it. So again, it was basically a move that they wanted to do so that they could tell their own people, their constituents, that they had impeached the president. But isn't it amazing? I always tell people that here, this was strictly on party lines. Whatever happened to fair and just, like we talked about? Do you mean to tell me that there's not a single Democrat out there, not a single one of them out of the 400 and some people that are in the House there, representatives, there's not a single Democrat out of the 200 and some that are in the House, is not a single one of them that would disagree with the Democratic Party? Well, there was, a couple of votes, right, that we heard of, but they did it basically because in their area where they represent, they're not going to win re-election if they didn't. So let me tell you what, it really amazes me when I see how they stick together. In a way, it's kind of a good thing that I see the Republicans now sticking together in the Senate and other places, even in the House. It used to be more where you could see the bipartisan people were this, that, you get some mixtures. Some Democrats voted with the Republicans, some Republicans with the Democrats. And you would be able to see that people were actually voting what they thought, not what the party was, but what they thought. I'm going to tell you what, we're going to be talking a little bit about all these things, but we got to think to ourselves, if the Democratic Party is pushing you or their representatives to vote only one way, how is that fair? I mean, really? I mean, these representatives are supposed to vote the way the people in their region, their district want, but they're not doing that. Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and get ready for our first break. We're going to come right back in just a short while. Don't go away. We're going to be right back. I like that. Get us into the groove. Amen. Let's go ahead and get on rolling again. Hey, did anybody seem to catch the Golden Globes? Let me tell you what, I'm not too much into this Hollywood stuff, so I don't really watch, all these the Oscars and all that kind of stuff. I know people get into them and, hey, good. If you like that, that's good, man. But let me tell you what, a lot of the Hollywood stuff really, really turns me off. And, because it used to be, hey, you would just get your award for greatest movie, greatest actor, whatever it is. Well, it used to be kind of entertaining. Now you got all these people that come up, and guess what? They all want to share their little part about, what they believe politically wise and all that kind of good stuff. Well, let me tell you what. If you didn't catch it, I wanted to play this real quickly, and this is from the Golden Globes Awards, and this is Ricky, I believe it's, I don't know if I pronounced his name right, Ricky Gervais. You guys know who I'm talking about, but let me tell you what, he was pretty awesome, and I'll tell you what, I've seen him in some movies, and he's a funny guy. And I really have never heard him speak other than in the movies, but he was pretty funny. Let me play real quickly for you the clip of when he said that at the end. And again, if you didn't hear it, catch this real quickly.
Roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and off, okay?
Well, let me tell you something right now. When I heard that, my son actually played that for me. I couldn't help but laugh because finally, somebody in Hollywood came up on stage and said something that was hilarious. Because it is so true. I mean, I don't know how many people he might have pissed off when he said this, but I can guarantee you there was only a few claps if you heard in the audience. But he said what was necessary, everybody. Come get your award. Recognize whoever you want to because, it is a special time. And just, move on. I'm not going to say what he said, right? But move on, right? So anyway, we're going to go ahead and, I don't know, do we got somebody, Woody, or are we okay? Well, I'm going to go ahead and again, if you didn't hear that, I tell you what, you need to go check that out. There's Ricky Gervais on the Golden Globe, and it's actually a lot longer. He did I saw the whole intro, and he had a big, longer talk about it, but it was really, really good. So again, we're just so glad that we were able to play that for you. So again, let's remind Hollywood that sometimes they got to get, stick to what the plan is. You're actors. You're not, like Ricky said there, they're not educated enough to be able to really talk on some of this stuff. But that's good. So we're going to go ahead. Anyway, well, we finished off with the Nancy Pelosi story. And basically, it said at the end there that Pelosi's announcement marked a sudden reversal of her decision to delay the trial and tried to force Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to commit to calling additional witnesses and evidence in the trial. Senate Democrats pressured Pelosi to drop her attempt to draw out concessions from McConnell, an idea that she reportedly got from watching CNN. Pelosi spokesman Drew Hamill confirmed on Twitter that the articles will be sent to the Senate next week. Isn't that amazing that she got the idea from watching somebody on CNN? Well, it doesn't amaze me, as I say that, but when you think about it, isn't it amazing that we think Mitch McConnell is going to be changing anything to succumb to Pelosi's wants? I mean, again, they did their part in the House. Okay, they voted on impeachment. The vote's been in. Again, it's not officially impeachment until it goes to the Senate. But they did their part. Get it over to the Senate now and let the Senate take care of their business. Pelosi, you got no business in the Senate trying to run the Senate. You don't have authority there. Your authority is in the House. Keep it where it's at. We have a saying. It's called stay in your own lane. People try to get in other people's lane and get in other people's business. No, it's time now for Mitch McConnell and them to do whatever they're going to be doing. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be really interesting. But I didn't think they were going to be caving in to Pelosi's wants and whatever she wanted. Well, that's my take on that. If you want, I'd like to encourage you to call and give me your opinions, your thoughts on 559-442-1680. Because, again, this is Vent Friday. You get to share your views. You get to talk about what you like. And maybe give me your thoughts on whatever we are talking about here as well. So, again, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a little shifting here to another story. But, there's a story and it's entitled AOC Riles Dems by Refusing to Pay Party Dues, Bankrolling Colleagues' Opponents. Now, let me tell you something. Before I get into that story, I want to tell you something. It is I don't think anybody, to anybody's amazement, that if you go against your party, and I'm going to be specific, in the Democratic Party. I know that in the Republican Party, I'm sure they try to pressure you. That's just part of the game. That's the political world. They try to pressure you to vote a certain way because they need certain votes and this and that. But in the Democratic Party, you will be blackballed. And I'll tell you what, they will withhold money from you if you're going to run for office, if you're going to run for another spot again, and they will not support you. And I'll tell you what, to me, that is just not right. If you have a different view, again, and you want to represent your district, then by all means, let the people that are voted in by the people in those areas, those regions, those districts, whatever state, let them vote according to what the people in that area want them to vote, because that's what that vote is supposed to be. That vote is supposed to represent the people. Well, as you can see, let's be honest about it. When we see the elections and stuff like that, and we see how we're voting on certain things, we know darn well that there was not every single Democrat wanted President Trump to be impeached in the House. There's a lot of people that I know out there myself that are Democrats that said, you know what? I didn't even think about that, Max. That wasn't even a thought. Well, let me tell you what. According to the representatives in Congress, the whole part, anybody who's Democrat wanted impeachment. Well, again, that's because they're only voting on whatever the party wants. Not what the people want, it's what the party wants. And I always tell people, we got to get away from that. We got to start getting back to representing the people. That's what we are, right? Not a party, not a country of a party, but the country of people. So, again, I just wanted to give you my little take on that. Well, I'm just going to share as much as I can, but before we go to our break. But AOC's star power, galloping party to the left. And it says radio hosts Chris Plant and Richard Goodstein debate the influence Representative Alexandria Cortez has over Democratic leadership. The influence. Isn't it crazy that a young lady like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who just came into the House, can have that much influence? But you know what? It's called social media, everybody. She got rolling on social media, and now she's been on the news, and she's very controversial. And guess what? Controversy makes news. Well, we're going to be right back, so don't go away.
You might get calls, man. I had somebody call from Baton Rouge.
Wow. Okay.
A gentleman by the name of Tommy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and turn that up.
Now, so I can't see the comments here, Woody?
What's that?
Oh, these are the comments, right?
Yeah, those are all the comments right there.
Oh, okay.
And you got a lot of people watching, man.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so when you're ready to put on a call, turn that on. Otherwise, you're going to hear like a little...
Okay, when we're going to go to the call, put that on.
Yeah, make sure that's on. It's already turned up.
Okay. Oh, do we have anybody right now or no? Welcome back, everybody, on this Friday afternoon. I'm Max Zapata filling in for the great Jerris Jackson. Yep, I'm not Jerris Jackson. Hopefully you guys all figured that out by now. Yeah, you all have seen Jerris Jackson before. He's a funny guy, isn't he? But anyway, I'm glad that you're joining us. And hey, Facebook followers, we're so glad you're joining us as well. You know, I see we got Joseph Johnson. Thank you for tuning in. Jim Franklin. Hey, always good to hear from Pastor Franklin. He's man, that guy knows his stuff. I loved hearing this program this morning. And I'll tell you what, if anybody knows his stuff, he does. We got Denise, and I'll tell you what, Denise Duncan, Whit Weismer. I mean, I'm just glad you guys are tuning in and listening. And again, if you want to call in, feel free to call in. This is your opportunity to vent on Venting Friday. The number here is 559-442-1680. And we're going to give you that opportunity because you know what? I always kind of like to give people that chance. I want to be the radio host that gives people the opportunity to also say what they feel, because it's not always just about me. You know, hey, I'm going to do my part and talk about what I got to hear, but we definitely want to give you that chance. So feel free to call us again, 559-442-1680. Anyway, we were talking about the Democratic Party and how, isn't it amazing how they continue to really hold together? Is it any amazement to anybody that even when they select, let's go there, judges, even on the Supreme Court and things like that, you know, a lot of times, you know, they only go one way. And it always seems to kind of go along party lines. Well, whatever happened to, again, just being the fair and just person, you know, no matter what our views were on certain things, because sometimes we have to just, again, we have to do what our conscience, our faith tells us. And don't go against it. You know, stand by what you really feel. If you feel something, you know, then let that be represented through you. You know, we don't need to be following what everybody else does. Hey, if you just happen to fall in line with whatever other people think, that's okay. But I'm not going to change my mind just because I want to follow a certain party or a certain person. Well, here on this AOC Star Power, it says here that Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has already topped the fundraising charts in her short time in Congress. But the liberal darlings won't donate a cent of her millions to Democrat House's campaign organization, a position that has rankled some of her colleagues, Fox News has learned. Instead, Ocasio-Cortez is building her own fundraising operation for fellow progressive candidates to bypass the official Democratic Party infrastructure. Already, she's actively funding primary challengers to oust certain Democratic colleagues. Now, let me tell you what. I would just want to throw this question out there. What do you guys think? I mean, when I first heard about this and I was reading on it, I was thinking to myself, well, I mean, you know, because they mentioned it like it was dues. Well, look, I mean, I got union dues where I work at, and you know, you got to pay those. Otherwise, you know, you could get. There's a lot of things that could happen, but here's the deal. Do you guys think that it's fair that the party make them basically give part of that money to them, or should they just be independent as they are with their fundraising or whatever? I mean, a lot of times, again, I don't have a problem with them suggesting things, but to hold it over your head and basically, once again, they're going to blackball you if you basically don't. I don't know how they're going to get away with this with this young lady, because she's really got the social media crowd behind her, as we all know. And so it would be really hard if she comes out publicly and says certain things. But again, you're always going to be in conflict with your party. And I don't think that's the way you want to win. You know, you want to have to, I said before, you got to play the game to a certain point. But don't let it be, you know, something that you totally change the way you feel just because the party is saying to do this. I don't know. If you got thoughts on that, feel free to call in. But let me continue on. So it says that she is, again, fundraising operations for fellow progressive candidates to bypass the official Democratic Party infrastructure. It goes on to say that's always up to individual members. So I guess I don't think about it one way or another. Bustos said when asked about Ocasio-Cortez stance, we're raising record amounts of money from our members. That's always up to individual members. Is it really? Is it really up to them? I don't know about that. I think there's a lot more pressure than we see. Just kind of like, is it really up to them when they vote on a certain legislation in the House? Come on now. You know there's a lot of pressure when it comes to those things. I mean, who are you trying to fool? Says another Democrat was less diplomatic. Deadbeat Cortez should pay her bills, complained the Democratic source. She's always whining about people paying their fair share, and here she is leaving her friends with the bill. Well, I never heard that one, Deadbeat Cortez. Well, I never heard that before, but anyway, I guess that's his views on her and that she should be paying her part, right? Their gripe is that Ocasio-Cortez hasn't given any money to the DCCC DCCC, the party arm with the sole job of electing Democrats to the House. Records obtained by Fox News show that the New York Democrat has failed to pay any of her $250,000 in dues to the DCCC. Wow. $250,000. Man, seems like a whole lot of money. I know for me it is, but I guess for some of these people it's not. Says her goose egg of a contribution is no accident. Ocasio-Cortez, she has beef with the DCC and she'll withhold her money in protest of how the Democrat Party won't back insurgent progressive primary candidates like herself in the name of protecting incumbents. Well, again, is anybody shocked that she's kind of like a little bit of a rebel? Because that's what she does, right? I mean, she likes to get her group and get together, and the more people she gets on her side, the more powerful she seems. And does anybody have any thoughts on the fact that I never would have thought it, that she'd be right there campaigning with Bernie Sanders, every step of the way. Let me tell you what, is there something going on there? I'm sure people have talked about it before, but looks like she's lining up herself to possibly even be a vice presidential candidate if Bernie Sanders, somebody like that, could win. I don't know that they would, but hey, Ocasio-Cortez is kind of lining herself up there. And, you got to give it to the man, Bernie, because a young youth person that draws all the young people along with himself, an older guy, hey, probably a match made in heaven for them. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, she's not about to be paying any money because she is a rebel and she's going to continue to do it her way. I am surprised, to be honest with you all, that I haven't seen her as much in the news. I don't know where you're all located. It could be in a different state if you're tuning in. But here, I haven't seen a whole lot. It seemed like for a while there, we saw her face on everything that we saw. When it came to political talk, news, she was all over the place. And now I haven't really heard too much of her, except for this when I started reading this, that she's rebelling. So, of course, it made news. And it goes on to say, through social media posts and email solicitations, she's activated her donor network to support her hand-picked candidates. In 2019 alone, she funneled more than $300,000 to candidates she's endorsed by hosting online fundraising campaigns for them, according to records obtained by Fox News. She said, I want to help frontline members by putting that money straight into their pocket, Ocasio-Cortez said. Bucking the Democratic Party line, Ocasio-Cortez led online fundraisers for at least two progressives who are trying to defeat sitting Democratic members of Congress. Let me tell you what. They'll do whatever it takes, even if it means ousting one of their Democratic Party's members. If they want to get somebody more social, more into socialism like they are, they're going to work on that. And I'll tell you what, it looks like it's kind of working in some areas. We're going to find out when the elections begin and see how much of an impact all this stuff makes. But again, I'm hoping that that at that time, we're going to be able to stand up and we're going to be able to vote for the best candidate. And I'll tell you what, I know everybody believes that whoever they vote for is the best candidate. But honestly, I mean, what has Trump done? Before we go to our break, I just want you to leave you with something to think about. I ask people this all the time. Why do you hate Trump so bad? Man, let's be honest. Of course, Pelosi doesn't hate Trump, right? And all these people in Congress, they don't hate Trump. Yeah, right. Let me tell you something. They hate him. They hate the fact that he's president, and they have been wanting to oust him, as we've heard over and over and over from day one, since his presidential term began. And so, yes, do they hate him? I would say they do. And they're going to do everything they can to stop him. But I want to ask the question, why do people hate Trump so much? If you're a hater, hey, let us know. I'll tell you what, I didn't like Obama. Let me tell you something right now. I'm going to be honest with you. But I did not always say, let's get him impeached, let's get him out. We just had to let it come down to the vote. When the voting came, we didn't do it quite in the second term of his office, but we finally did when he was out after 8 years. We got somebody new, and I'll tell you what, I think we're going places. What do you think? I want to leave you with that, kind of just give you an opportunity to call in. It is Vent Friday. No matter where you're at, feel free to call in here at 559-442-1680. And we'll give you an opportunity to air whatever your feelings are, all righty? So on that note, we're going to be right back. Don't go away. welcome everybody on this Friday afternoon. It is TGIF. Thank God it's Friday for a lot of you that are on the work field on a Friday and now getting ready to get off, or maybe you already are off and you've started your Friday a little bit early. I hope you're having a safe and a good time no matter where you're at. If you're tuning in, we're so thankful that you are. And again, thank you for all our Facebook audience. So glad you joined us as well. We're just glad that we can have a day when we just kind of just let loose a little bit. It's been a long week, and a lot of people went back to work. Holidays were over, Christmas, then New Year's, and now even school's back on, and it's just getting back into the normal routine. I got to do the same thing in my part here at work and my radio and everything else. I got to get back on track and get everything done just like I used to. So it is good for me as well to be back, but I'm just glad you're joining in and that you're with us. Do we have a caller, Woody? We got somebody? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to... Okay. Can we... Let me see. Hello? Hello, you're on the air? Am I doing something, Woody? There we go. I'm sorry, everybody. Oh, there we go. Hey, all right. Hey, sorry about that, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Molly. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing really, really good. So what brings you to our program this Friday afternoon?
Well, I just have to say I am happy. I checked the Dow regularly, and today the Dow broke 29,000 for the first time ever. And coincidentally, I got my 401k statement in the mail today, and in 3 months, my stocks, my 401 has gone up $30,000 in 3 months.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So these crazy liberals that were like, oh, if he gets elected, the stock market's going to crash. The economy is going to crash. The world's going to come to an end. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. My family is doing better economically. My retirement plan obviously is doing phenomenal. The Trump tax cut saved my family $2,000.
Wow.
And what are they complaining about? And then they're protesting the fact that a terrorist is dead.
Yes. Molly, you couldn't have been more on track than exactly, where you're going right now, because that's what I had asked during the break, is what is the hatred all about? How can you hate somebody so much that is doing such good things for individuals like yourself, the country? I mean, all he's doing is defending us, and yet people don't like this. Like you said, they'd rather pick a terrorist over the president of the United States. I can't figure that out. It really puzzles me.
I know. Well, let me tell you what. I check Yahoo News regularly because, it's totally left-leaning.
Yes.
But I'll always look at the comments to see kind of what the temperature of the people is. And let me tell you, the tides are turning. People are starting to wake up with the shenanigans with the impeachment, then with these protesters upset that the fact that a terrorist is dead. It's like, really?
Yes.
He killed 600 Americans.
Yes.
He killed thousands of his own people over there. I mean, are they really protesting the fact that he's dead? What are they? They hope would they rather he was alive and killed more Americans and more of their people? I mean, I don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
And again, I'm really glad that you called, because again, you're like your average citizen out there, I'm sure. And what I try to, like I said at the beginning of the program, I really try to be fair and just. And how can a normal person not see what you just said and what we're talking about here? It, again, really blows my mind to even
I'll tell you what, they're watching too much CNN.
But then we hear that the CNN ratings are really taking a dump, and even our president has said that they could go bankrupt. I don't think the liberal would ever let that happen. But their viewership is way, way down. But yet, and I'm going to tell you what, I got to be honest. I used to be able to tune into CNN and kind of just check base like yourself, just see what's going on. It's hard for me to even do that nowadays. It really, really is, because of how far left they really have gone.
Yeah.
But, hey, I'm so glad it's going great for you. We really appreciate you calling and taking the time out of your day. What are you doing on this Friday? Anything special?
No, I just picked up my kids, so.
Well, we're glad that you're tuning in, and so glad that you caught my program here. So I'm thankful. I'm just filling in for Jerris Jackson, but I hope you call again one day.
Okay, thank you so much, Max.
Thanks, Molly. Take care. Bye-bye. Isn't that wonderful, when we can just, get views from the public, because she's so right. When you're sitting there and your 401ks and, are doing great, and 29,000. Wow. I kind of have watched it a little bit, and I was seeing it getting higher and higher. And look at this is happening despite this terrorist thing happening and this killing, and yet the stock continues to just skyrocket. I'll tell you what, she was right. Everybody was predicting doom and gloom when President Trump would be in office, but it's been the exact opposite. And believe me, how much more could he get done if he had the House and the people there backing him? Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but we're going to go ahead and take another break, and we're going to be right back. Don't you go away.
Lisa Moreno.
What's it?
One word. Awesome.
Oh, hey Woody.
That's Guillermo's mom.
How do I pan down so I can see more of the views?
Well, you could just.
Do I go there?
No. With the gamer control, yeah. Just yeah. You can.
If I can get it over there. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I wanted to see them, but I can't. Let me get it on here. Did I tried tapping? What I gotta do?
Oh no.
Did it die?
No. But you're not playing no more bits, right?
I was gonna do the Trump one, but that's okay. That's okay. If it didn't, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens.
Okay. That's fine.
It's the card.
That's fine. Hey, welcome back. I'm Max Zapata filling in for the great Jerris Jackson here on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. We're so glad you're with us on Vent Friday. We like to have you call in if you want to call in, as Molly did here at 559-442-1680. I tell you what, give you an opportunity to give your thoughts about whatever it is that you're thinking about, because, you know, we were hitting just a little bit on it, and, you know, the hate against President Trump. And I'll tell you what, I see the man, and I'll tell you what, I've known, I've not known, but I've followed Donald Trump for a long, long time, right? So basically, you think about it, and we were, you know, as I was following him back in, I don't know, when he was married the first time, you know, I know the man's made some mistakes, and I know he's done some things, but even now, you know, I know that based on some strong Christian leaders, you know, he is a follower of Jesus Christ. And let me tell you what, whether you care about that or not, I mean, I'm just letting you know, he's living his life differently nowadays, and he really does care, you know, because he's so, the way he speaks, the way he talks, a lot of people are drawn to that around the United States of America. And I'll tell you what, I live here in California, so, you know, we don't always see as much, but you can travel around different states, and you begin to see how much support there is for Trump. And so really believing that this next election, it's going to go fair well for us again, because it's going to be hard to oust someone who has done so much, as Molly has said, not only with the economy, but he really, again, these racist comments, I don't understand that as well either. The guy, you know, when he was in president, he was a businessman, employed, you know, thousands and thousands of Mexican people. I mean, you know, I always tell people, look, when he made that comment about the people that are in prison and jails are rapists, the Mexicans that are, he wasn't talking about Mexican people. I'm a Mexican myself. Look, he was talking about those that are incarcerated. Now I always tell people, look, I do ministry with people that are incarcerated. I've been to Corcoran Prison. I've been to the jail here in Fresno. I still do volunteer work as a chaplain at the Fresno Juvenile Hall. And, you know, you do see a lot of what Trump says was, in effect, a lot of the criminals that are in there are illegal immigrants. And there's a lot of people in there that are here in this country that have now been arrested for a crime. So he wasn't off. You just have to understand where he's coming from. And so, does he care about people? Yes. I mean, how could anyone think that he doesn't care about people? He even gives, and again, you can chime in if you'd like to, but I see him trying with Pelosi. I see him trying with Schumer. I mean, how many meetings has he invited them to in the White House? I mean, he's called them in, tried. Yeah, one time he did walk out because it got a little bit crazy, but let me tell you what. He's called them into the office, so he talks to them, and he wants to work with them. And I believe he really, truly does want to work with the House. But they are the ones who do not want to work with him. And so I was saying before the break, how much more can President Trump do if he had backing? Let me tell you what. They were talking about people laughing at him in other countries, leaders in other countries around the world. Well, why are they laughing? Well, they're laughing at him because of the way the American leadership, remember, the leadership in our House, some leaders in the Senate, do they ever agree with President Trump on anything? Do they ever agree with him? I mean, come on, we've heard it before. I'll say it again. The guy could, you know, invent a cure for cancer or something, some disease. And guess what? He still wouldn't get credit in this terrorist killing. Let me tell you what, and I'm calling it what it is. He is a terrorist. This general stuff, I think they're giving him too much respect for that. He's a terrorist. But let me tell you what, here's the point. Iran does not like us, people. Iran, if you don't know this already, hates our guts. Hey, I served in the United States Air Force, and I heard stuff even back then in 1978 when I served from 78 into the 80s. And I'm going to tell you something right now. They don't like us. When you see this flag burning stuff and all the things that happened, I mean, it was really, really crazy. I was actually in a base, in a NATO base in Decimomano, Italy, over in the island of Sardinia in the year of 1979. And I was in Italy for a couple years. And I was actually there. For some of you that go way back, just kind of show you how old I am. But back then, when they had the American hostage situation with Khomeini and all that stuff going on, those of you that may not know, hey, you might want to check it out. It's pretty interesting. But I was at the base when President Reagan became president, and had already promised that if they didn't release during the elections, if they didn't release the hostages before he became president, he was gonna bomb Iran. Well, let me tell you something right now. Isn't it amazing that before he took office, this raid took place, and they went in, and they were going to attempt to remove the hostages from Iran, the American hostages. And I'm going to tell you what, brothers and sisters, they actually landed in our base. All the personnel, the Marines, everybody, the helicopters were coming to our base, and from there, they were going to be flying to Iran. And they had some plans, and we saw in the military some of the plans that now I can talk about. Let me tell you what, plans that they were not just going to take the hostages out, they were going to destroy Khomeini's palaces and all the different places, and they were going to do some damage. But guess what? Those helicopters wrecked into each other. It was a tragedy, a terrible tragedy. Well, I saw how Iranian people had the burned bodies of American soldiers, and just playing with them in the street. Amazing. But that's why it really touched my heart. I know Iran. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But we're going to go ahead and take another break, and we're going to be right back. Don't go away, because we got a lot of good stuff coming up.
Still having problems with the screen?
It's
still black. Is that? I thought we're always have to sound for the video card.
somebody from New York.
Yeah, man.
I wish
Start
I
Windows
can't move this, Woody.
Hit enter. Oh, there it goes.
I wish I could move this screen, but I can't.
Can't move it.
This thing I can't even get it to get there.
Bro.
I'm not good like you. Mira.
Go ahead.
So I was trying to do it on my phone. No se mueve.
No, see the little bar on the side?
It's here, right?
Yeah.
I know, but I can't get there. Mira.
Can't get where?
Get the little cursor to there.
You can't go to the far right?
See what I'm saying? It's all over the place, and I'm not real good at. You see, I want to get it down here, but.
All right, and then you got.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at it. Okay.
That's all you had to do.
Okay, leave it there. Leave it there, brother. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm Max Zapata filling in for Jerris Jackson on this Friday afternoon. Again, so glad that you're with us. And we've been talking a little bit about, different things. But, again, as I left before the break, we were talking a little bit about that Iran does not like us. I mean, the leadership, the people, I mean, really, I'm not saying that there's not nobody in Iran that isn't in favor. There's Iranians that are actually happy that this terrorist was killed. I heard some interviews already on other talk shows, and I'll tell you what, pretty amazing when you hear from the people. But in general, they don't like us, and they don't mind if another American gets killed. They did that, like I said, it touched really home with me when I was in the Air Force, and to see fellow military people, being hung in the streets out had been burned when those two helicopters wrecked into each other in the desert. Let me tell you something right now. It really just broke my heart. And again, I don't like to hate anybody. I really don't feel that I have a hate in bone in my body. But it doesn't mean I like everything, but I don't hate. And here's the deal. When you see that kind of hate, and then you see representatives from our country, like Pelosi and everybody else that is going on and on and on, and actually taking the terrorist side over our president and basically even feeling sorry. I'm thinking to myself, look, man, I mean, I do ministry with people in prison, and I see criminals, and I know the criminal mind, and I think to myself, I'm all about bringing hope to people. I believe people can change, right? And so that's not hate. That's caring about one another. And so here, we have a president that actually cares and took out somebody like Molly, I said when she called in. All these numbers that you hear, but regardless, this was a dangerous man and had done a lot of harm to many people around the world and also the United States of America, and was planning in the future, whether it was tomorrow, next week, or who knows when, he would have done something again. And we are defending him. We got people that are elected officials in the House, in the Senate, that would even dare to defend this terrorist. I'm going to tell you what, that really kind of like, how do you figure that out? How can you figure that somebody on our side would defend a terrorist over our president? And do you wonder again why the leaders around the world, like Iran would not be even trying to do anything to us, not even give a statement, show a statement of force in any way, shape, or form, if they knew that all the elected officials in Congress, in Washington, and all those areas were also backing Trump. Can you imagine how powerful we could be? And we already are powerful of a nation. How much more powerful can the voice of Donald Trump be if these people would back him up? If they would sit there and say, well, Mr. President, let us know what's going on, and we'll give you our support. We'll let you know whatever we think, because people got, they can tell me, why don't we do this, do that? You got generals, you got leaders helping him out, great advisors. But if our representatives were to back him up, can you only begin to imagine how much he could get done? Because let me tell you what, I watched President Trump, and he is a negotiator. You could tell he's a businessman. I've been involved in some business negotiations in my work. I've been doing my work now for over 40 years in the retail business. And I think to myself, I've been through contract negotiations and all that. He's a negotiator. A lot of the things he says are just basically so that he can get the attention of the people he's negotiating with. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Look what he did with China. With the leader of North Korea. I mean, think about that. He's talked to the people from China, people from all over. Yes, he's made people mad before, but that's just part of the political game they play. I'm sure he gets upset. Well, but Trump is really good at getting past when people do things against him, and he's willing to sit down at the table and take care of business. That's what he does. Have we ever thought of having a president who's in the office by, I don't know, they say he only sleeps 3 or 4 hours. Probably 4 hours is an exaggeration. I don't even think he gets that. But he's always at work. And what does this talk about? The fact that he's always playing golf. I don't know. I don't see anything of that. Even when he does have a round of golf, it's talking about business, right? With whoever he's talking with, leaders and other people. But when you go against him and you take a terrorist, something is wrong with you. So I get kind of offended by that because I know that Iran does not like us. And I've heard that, again, since the 70s, late 70s when I was in the military. And I've seen a lot of proof in the news when they burn our flags and things like that, that they still don't like us today. Well, in this article that I wanted to read, it's Representative Jim Banks calls Ilhan Omar's PTSD claim offensive to veterans. Well, yes, I heard a little bit about that. Let me tell you something. I agree 100%. Yeah, she said that she was, from what I heard, that she was in the back in those days of the war in her country, that she experienced, post traumatic stress and all this stuff, being in her family and stuff. But the fighters, check this out. I know people personally, being an a veteran, I know people personally that fought in Vietnam. A lot of good friends of mine that even fought then, and I know people personally, younger people today that fought in the war in Afghanistan. So I when I hear their stories, I mean, man, my heart goes out to them, what they went through. So watch what he says here. A congressman who served in Afghanistan as a member of the Navy Reserve spoke out on behalf of America's military veterans Wednesday after U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar claimed she suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. United States Representative Jim Banks, Republican of Indiana, said Omar's comments were a disgrace, calling the remarks offensive to our nation's veterans who really do have PTSD after putting their life on the line to keep America safe. Couldn't have been a more powerful statement than that. My good friend that I worked with many, many years, I won't say any names right now, but let me tell you what. Had two of her sons killed in the Afghanistan war, and two, not one, but two sons. One was a sniper, and the other one died in a helicopter wreck. And you think when I would speak with her, a wonderful, wonderful woman, and a mother of these two here locally, wonderful children. Let me tell you what, when you hear her continue to be supportive of things in the military and see what they're doing, it just really shows us who the real people are that are following, the truth about what's going on. But then you get this representative, a new representative at that, and again, another good question. How the heck did she get in office? Who are the people that vote these people in? Man, they got to check themselves. But it says Omar D. from Minnesota had made her remarks during a news conference with other Democrats on Wednesday, at which she said she felt ill because of everything that is taking place in the Middle East. She feels ill because of things that are taking place in the Middle East. Well, it's not the kind of ill that you would think. Makes me sick too, but not the way she's talking about it. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to, again, give you an opportunity to call in if you'd like to. You can call us at 559-442-1680 and give us your side of whatever you're feeling or thinking on this Friday. But in the meantime, don't go away. We're going to be right back. Hello, everybody. I'm Max Zapata filling in for the great Jerris Jackson. So glad that he gives me this short opportunity to come out and speak to all of our listening audience here on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. We're so glad you joined us. And again, welcome to all of our Facebook people that are tuning in. And you know what? I apologize. I'm going to try to get some of this stuff down a little bit better for the next time, because I will be on again next Friday. If you're with us, I hope you join us. So I'll be able to comment more on some of the comments that you're commenting on, because I really like to do that. So forgive me for that right now as I try to figure this out. But I'm so glad that even some of you from New York, Marie, calling in or tuning in from New York. And I'll tell you what a blessing. I mean, I'll tell you what, social media, I tell people, it's pretty amazing what we can get across nowadays. And, I'm new to a lot of things here, but it's the way to go. And so feel free to do your comments there. And I know some of you like to chat with each other. It's the way to go. And it's another way that you can vent on Vent Friday, is just kind of make your comments there, talk with one another, chat with one another. If you got friends and stuff, but hey, we're just glad that you're joining in. I'm going to be playing a real clip of Trump when after this terrorist killing that they did. And I like somebody said, but I wanted to finish up real quickly here with Representative Ilhan Omar and what she was saying about this thing, and how she said that every time, and I think every time I hear a conversation about war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD. Forgive me for laughing, but come on, really? She said, and I find peace knowing that I serve with great advocates for peace and people who have shown courage against war. Well, let me tell you what, it should not be news to anybody that war is not something that we like, but let's be honest. In your own families or in your own place, have war could be when we went and sometimes I've been on the picket line for my job. It's kind of like going to war. I mean, you're trying to get that money that you got. And I'll tell you what, I'm one of those old veterans, even at my work. I've been doing it so long that I tell people, hey, the money you're making today is because some of us fought very hard for. We were in the war in the retail business. We had to get on the picket line. And let me tell you what, we helped elevate the pay raises to where it's at. So nothing comes just easy. Well, this representative seemed to think that, it's all about peace. And you know what? We do want peace. But sometimes you can't have it in a big world like this. When you got somebody that's doing something wrong, someone's got to step up. Someone's got to do what you got to do. We see what Bush did with taking out, in Iraq when he took Saddam Hussein out. The man was a bad man. There's bad people in the world today. And sometimes, when they're hurting people, which they are, someone has to step up. And in this case, this was a terrorist that was definitely trying to harm not only American citizens, but people around the world any way that he could. And so the fact that we're hearing this kind of stuff from representatives in the House that are getting PTSD because of the talk of war and because this terrorist was killed, I'm going to tell you what. It says, after Banks took issue with her comments, Omar posted a reply on Twitter, making reference to her youth in war-torn Somalia. Omar left her homeland with her family near the start of the Somali civil war in 1991 and spent 4 years at a Kenyan refugee camp before immigrating to the U.S. in 1995. Man, I'll tell you what. Let me hear something. I want to play this for you. I want to play this short little clip, and we're not going to do it long. We're just going to hear real quickly what Trump said about this attack.
Citizens, last night at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him. Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm any American. We will find you. We will eliminate you. We will always protect our diplomats, service members, all Americans, and our allies. For years, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its ruthless Quds Force, under Soleimani's leadership, has targeted, injured, and murdered hundreds of American civilians and servicemen. The recent attacks on U.S. targets in Iraq, including rocket strikes that killed an American and injured 4 American servicemen very badly, as well as a violent assault on our embassy in Baghdad, were carried out at the direction of Soleimani. Soleimani made the death of innocent people his sick passion, contributing to terrorist plots as far away as New Delhi and London. Today we remember and honor the victims of Soleimani's many atrocities, and we take comfort in knowing that his reign of terror is over.
How about that? Let me tell you what. Did you catch that word at the beginning? We terminated him. I think we can all kind of see where that might have came from. But, they got rid of him. I like that. He terminated him. This guy, again, is a killer. And, the scripture that says, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. He was killing people. So he got what was coming to him. And, we have the technology to be able to do something like this as we did and take out ruthless people that are doing harm in this world. You know what? Again, I know people got their own views on, just because someone kills, should we kill them or whatever, this and that. Should we continue to let this guy hurt people, kill people? Should we continue to let him be in a position where he can do all these things? Let's not be surprised that a lot of these groups and some of the money that they have to fund their terrorist groups came from the money that Obama signed or gave over to the leaders of Iran during that last deal that we all know that Trump just despised. And again, when I first heard of that, my first instinct was like, why are we giving them money? They said it was theirs. No, we don't need to be doing any of that. The point is, Trump here took care of something that needed to be taken care of. He needed to take action, and based on the info that he gets, why is everything that he gets always wrong? Or the information, what people think. This is what the left thinks, the liberals. But if it was Obama, well, of course, we all know that. And I hate to keep bringing that up, but let's be honest. They considered him a saint. And here Trump, who really does care and really does not want war. But again, he tries to use a lot of his talk in ploys to get things done. And he does. And he got North Korea's leader to come down, and they had a talk. And I thought, hey, why not? Let's get some of these talks going. Nothing wrong with that. But did the left ever give him credit for anything there? Absolutely not. Again, President Trump will not get credit. Things are not going to change. But thank God some of us are waking up, and we're going to keep voting, and we're going to do what we got to do to keep him in office, because we need a good leader that continues to do what's best interest of the United States of America. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and we're going to come right back. We're getting ready to wind the program down. So if you want to call, you're going to get one last chance at 559-442-1680. We'll be right back. I like that. Hit the road, Jack. And that's exactly what they did to this terrorist. Terminated him and said, hit the road, Jack. Let me tell you something right now. I'm Max Zapata, and I'm filling in for the great Jerris Jackson. Always, again, so great to get the opportunity to come and just talk a little bit of conservative talk radio with all of our listening audience. And I'm glad you're tuning in this Friday afternoon. Everybody's got things going on, and I don't know what you got going on for this weekend, but I hope that you'll have a great time in whatever you do, and just be safe, right? Because it's a new year. It's the year 2020. I tell people, it's really good when we can sit there and know that on this year we can think of 2020 as a perfect vision, right? But I always tell people, let's have perfect vision to be able to see what's going to be happening, what's going to be going on. So we're gonna get a chance at that, and we're gonna work on that. But like I said, 2020 doesn't it sound pretty good? It sure does. So I don't know. But anyway, as we were talking real quickly, and I do want to give a shout out to Denise on our Facebook. She put a lot of people were mad about Ilmar making comments about the PCSD, making light of it. It is a lifetime. And of course, I like what Michael said. He said, that's why the Democrats, when we talked about flags, that's why the Democrats don't have a flag. Don't have a flag when they go on. They probably give it to Iran to burn. That's a good one. I like that. Well, we're going to go ahead, and I think we got a caller. Woody, do we have a caller? All right, we're going to... Okay. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Man, you're calling from Michigan?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
I just like to tell you this is Friday rant, so I want to rant a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, with everything that Trump does, we always get backed down by the Democrats. And I'm sick and tired of them working against us. They're keeping us divided. And all I got to say is everybody vote for Trump in November. And then when we can, let's vote the Democrats out of the House and get Republicans in the House. And then maybe we can go somewhere.
I agree. You couldn't have said that any better. It still stuns me that somehow we lost Republicans in the last one. And I can't quite figure out how that happens,
They cheated.
Is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it is.
Because how could we lose so many seats when Trump was already off to a blazing start? I don't get it. But they say it's going to come around this time, so I'm sure hoping they do.
Me too. When Pelosi got in the House in 2016, I said, "What the heck happened?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought for sure we were going to win the House, win the Senate, and make America great.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100% with you. That's why, like I said, I knew that people were projecting certain things, but they were saying, well, maybe it's not going to be as bad as they had projected. But it did end up being bad enough that they turned it around. But I said this, Mike. I said, you know what? I expected nothing to get done in the Congress. And guess what? What are they? The nickname now is the Do Nothing Democrats. I told people they were going to do nothing, and they're not. I mean, yeah, they talk about that they're passing this and passing that, but things that we probably don't even mean anything. Have they settled anything on immigration? Is it,
no.
Is it Trump's fault? And we tell people when all this immigration stuff going on, well, he's going by the same laws that have been there already since Obama put in. So
I don't trust a Democrat as far as I can throw them.
Well, you know what? If you could try to throw them, we got a lot of them here in California. So let me tell you something. I just tell people, I know there's got to be some good Democrats out there. And I think there's representatives that actually do get into office, but somehow when they get in there into the Congress, that they just turn them around. They tell them the way it's going to be, and it's not going to be the way they need to vote for their people. It's going to be the way the party wants.
One thing I know is that some of those Democrats got tired of being told how to vote and what to do. They actually got the heck out of there, which I'm glad.
Good point. Really good point. Well, I hope you're right, Mike, and I really hope that on this next election that a lot of people are waking up to see that nothing is getting done. We're paying these people to be in office, and they're not doing a darn thing. And like I said before, can you imagine what Trump could get done if these people would support him just even a little bit? It would be amazing. I don't ever see them even supporting him on one thing. But hey, Mike.
Not anything. I mean, it's a do nothing to Democrats, exactly what they're called. So,
hey, what's the feel over there in Michigan? Are you guys pretty good? Thinking it's going to be pretty good in your state there?
Yeah, we went to the rally when he was here, and all the everybody's saying that he's going to win in the landslide. So
wow,
yeah, everybody here in Michigan that I've talked to, I wear my hat around. Everybody says I love your hat. It's like we're all for Trump, so it looks good in Michigan.
Hey, I like that, and believe me, there's a few people that actually I've seen over here in California that wear their Trump hats, and I always tell them when I see them, I say, hey, good job, and they get a lot of criticism down here in California for wearing it, but I'm glad that they're able to have the courage to do, because come on, you can't even wear a hat. What's wrong with that, really?
I don't think it's a hat that says Trump. I think it's color red that turns them red.
Hey, you got a good point there, Mike. Hey, Mike. Well, I'm really glad you called in. I hope you're enjoying the show, and then and hopefully we'll hear from you next Friday because I'm gonna be back on, and hopefully you can call in again then.
Very good. Probably will.
You have a good Friday.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, that was a good call. Hey, man. Good job. See, I tell you, we can get people from all over. And, again, I always tell people you can get anybody to side with you however, if you want. Just look around. You'll find somebody. But it's not about that. It's about just simply stating the facts about what's right and what's wrong. I tell people every day, if I have a son, my son is wrong on something, I'm not going to say he's right just because he's my son. If he's wrong, I'm going to tell him he's wrong. And so right is still right and wrong is still wrong. And sometimes when you see some of the stuff that's going on in the party of the Democrats today, you just wonder what is really going on. Blows me away. Well, I'm going to finish up with this real quickly. But anyway, we did hear, like I said, we're talking about Omar. And I hope that these people are some of the first ones that will be ousted when they run again. Because I tell you what, we don't need people like that. And I'm being serious. Are they really able to be fair? Are they really being able to be just? Only when it comes to the people that they want to appease. And that's the only ones that they really care about. But, hey, let me tell you what. If I was an elected official, not a radio talk show host, let me tell you what. I'll be trying to work with people. I'll be trying to compromise. That's what it's all about. Sometimes, we don't agree. The United States is a really big country, but we can learn to compromise on a lot of issues. We can get things done. It's all going to have to be about compromise. And let's hope that we can get some people in office in this next election. Of course, after Trump wins, we also want that, number one. But if we can get some people in the House and the Senate that are willing to work with each other, really willing to sit down and discuss the issues and come to an agreement that there's certain things that need to be resolved. Immigration definitely is one of them. And we need to make better laws that help protect our country and also at the same time help the people that want to come across and become citizens of the United States. Because, people deserve that right. But it's got to be done right. All righty? Anyway, we're going to be right back for the closing segment of our program. Don't go away. We will be right back. I like that, Woody. Good music. I'll tell you what, for a Friday, gets us really rolling into the groove of TGIF. Thank God it's Friday for a lot of you. By the way, I got to work on Saturday, so it's just another Friday for me. But hey, I'm glad for you guys that do have the weekend off. I always like to hear that. I'm not, envious. I'll just say I'm glad for you all. So I hope you're enjoying your Friday afternoon, evening, depending on where you're at right now. Some of our callers and people that are tuning in on Facebook, and we're glad you have joined us, are from Michigan, New York, and different places. I'll tell you what, we're glad that you've joined us. And Denise, I like when she put on that last caller's comment that a lot of young people at that rally. I'll tell you what, so true. I love to see the young people getting involved and just voting and getting out there and knowing that there's two sides, right? It's not all liberal. We got some people that are on the conservative side that are really good people, and that's what we need to put in office. Well, anyway, I wanted to I know we don't have a lot of time, but anybody catch that on the Pope when that lady that as he was. I think it was during the New Year's celebration or whatever, and she pulled him. He got a lot of comments about that and negative stuff that he hit her hand. If you saw the video or not, but I gotta say something on the side of the Pope. I don't know about the hitting of the hand, but he was jerked pretty hard towards that lady. I didn't even know that lady could have that kind of strength, because unless it just caught him off guard as he's walking by, giving his blessings or waving to the crowd, she just pulled him toward her. And that's not a good thing. I don't think, we got to know. Security rushed in there immediately, of course. But he had to apologize later on, saying that he wasn't a good example in hitting the hand of that lady. I guess, he was kind of like old school, like we are. We hit the hand of somebody when they do something wrong. Well, the lady should not have pulled him, in my opinion, the way she did. But anyway, I wanted to thank you guys. I do want to say something really, really quick. People are leaving New York and California, other cities, other states, and you wonder, heck, New York, according to this graph that I have, 1.4 million from 2010 2019. California, 912,000. Illinois, almost 865,000 people. A lot of these states are losing people. They're not the only ones in the graph here that I see. But, I'm even thinking that when I retire, I might be moving somewhere else, Missouri or somewhere else. I've went on vacation to look at different places. The cost of living is great. The country's beautiful over there. And I tell you what, California, I've been living here all my life, all 60 years. And I'm telling you something right now. There's a lot of things going wrong right now. And it's not the first time. But we got to remember that, we have to keep voting, keep doing our part, keep doing what you need to do. And I'm going to encourage you today, no matter where you are, I hope that, I don't know where anyone is in their faith, but pray, pray for this country, pray for President Trump, not the way Pelosi said, but a real prayer. Pray that he would know God and that he would follow God and the things of God. God doesn't want bad things for us, and let's pray for leadership wherever it's at, whether it's in your cities, whether it's in your states. We need to pray that the hand of God would be upon these people so that they would do things right for the people. Because right now, it is us. We have the vote. We have the voice. You got to use your vote as you prepare for these elections coming up, to vote for the right person, the person that is going to do good, moral, ethic things. Amen. And if you don't, then we can't blame nobody but ourselves and whoever we have. And so let's do what we got to do, and let's make the change. I want to thank all of my Facebook followers, all of our listeners on the radio, in the internet, however you've been tuning in. We're so thankful that you did this Friday. I hope you have a blessed weekend, and I hope you'll be tuning in with us not only on Jerris Jackson's show next week, but when I'm filling in for him again next Friday. So again, until then, God bless you, and have a great weekend.